Hello everyone. Today I'll be showing some Mirage. She's one of the oldest Warframes in the game and one of my favorites. Unfortunately, she hasn't always been the best because she's pretty limited in terms of what she can do, but I think she's one of the funnest Warframes, and today I'll be showing you 3 different weapons with her. The first of which obviously is going to be an Atterax because melee weapons got nerfed. You can no longer hit enemies through walls. But Mirage honestly doesn't have to, because she has shadow clones who jump ahead of her and extend her range, so to speak. So Mirage can still hit enemies through walls. She's one of the best Warframes in terms of melee weapons, and we'll see how it goes after the melee rework. So I'm going to use this first map to just talk about Mirage and show off the Atterax. As expected, there isn't much to see. The Atterax is the Atterax, and buffed up by Mirage's first ability, it's just unstoppable. I'm going to show off my build probably at the end. I might even do some overlay type editing shit after the fact and show it in the middle of this gameplay. But I'm mostly going to be focusing on power strength, efficiency, and quite a bit of duration, because I don't want to cast my one over and over. I have the special augment for Mirage, which buffs your shadow clones to do even more damage the more enemies you kill, but it goes away every time your clones go away. So you have to keep killing enemies, you have to keep stacking the buff over and over, which is hella annoying to do. As you can tell, I just pressed up and it's a murder out there right now. I haven't even looked at our teammates, but only the Sarin should be my competition. Octavia is a great support Warframe, and Inaros has no place in this game mode. So, pretty decent team overall, we should be able to make it to Zone 8 easily. I honestly don't think making a 20-minute long video is pretty fun to watch, but you guys seem to like the last Mac video, so why not? I'll do one more. I think cutting it off and making it just the highlights of the run is a bit more interesting. Then again, you guys might want to hear me talk shit for about 20 minutes, so for those of you guys, here you go. Has anything interesting been happening in Warframe? Every time I log on to the game, I find myself in Elite Onslaught. I tried to do a short stream and farm some relics for Rhino, but I had zero luck, like no luck at all with Rhino. So I still haven't had any new pieces for Rhino, I only have the systems. I even did some runs with Mirage right now before jumping into Elite Onslaught and still got zero relics. Please D, can I have my Rhino? I'm just going to end up buying it with Platinum more than anything. So it's Zone 2, let's keep things fresh by switching it up. I'm going to cast my 2 abilities, my 1 and my 3, and I'm going to switch over to the Staticor. Now, the Staticor is a pretty old weapon, but it's one of the best, and I would say one of the best with Mirage in particular, because she fires so many projectiles. You can sometimes use it as a melee weapon, funnily enough. The only downside to the weapon is that sometimes your frame rate drops and there is a travel time for every single shot. So if you have Zephyr, it's probably going to be better to run it with her. But Mirage can still take advantage of the fact her shadow clones also fire these shots, and as you can tell, you can barely see what's going on my screen because there are shots flying absolutely everywhere. I'm going to drop off in percent probably because the Atterax is more effective as usual, but considering we might get a melee nerf pretty soon, you might want to start replacing your melee weapons with good primary and secondary weapons, and the Staticor is one of my favorites. It's so fun to play, you can honestly run it as a melee weapon, and it has so many effects like blast, radiation, and I think you can even get corrosive on it, since I think the radiation is innate in the weapon itself. And as you can tell, I have no trouble whatsoever not playing with the Atterax. It's still Zone 2, obviously I'm not going to have trouble regardless of what I'm doing, but it's a very effective weapon. It one-shots pretty much anything, because you're hitting so many status effects at the same time. You can even CC with the weapon higher up, because the blast is almost always going to proc. I think I have 90% status chance, and although it doesn't exactly work like that thanks to Moodshot interacting with this weapon, it's still quite a lot, and you're going to be CCing a lot of the time, if you don't straight up kill the enemies. Explosions everywhere. I wish I could put in the song from the Deadpool trailer, but I don't want a copyright strike. So, pretty straightforward run so far. I of course dropped off the face of the planet as soon as I stopped spinning with the Atterax. It's really going to hurt when the melee rework comes in and we have to relearn how to play the game. Melee weapons have always been the best, before they stop doing damage as well, and you have to switch over to your Warframes. Mirage could honestly use a rework. I love her just the way she is, but in terms of competition, competitiveness in general, in Elite Onslaught, she's never going to be the best, as long as she has to rely on her weapons. Warframes like Sarin can eat her for breakfast. So this is an infested map. Let's do the switcheroo one more time and pull out my third weapon. It's going to be the Lenz, and the Lenz is one of the most destructive weapons and most dangerous weapons to use, because the Lenz runs out of ammo very quickly and can one-shot anything on the map. But if you go into your own circle, generated by your primary Mirage, the original, you're going to kill yourself, which is not fun at all. You lose your carrier and your teammates have to come and revive you, but as long as you can avoid that, as you can tell, it pretty much one-shots anything, just like all the rest of your weapons. I'm going to stop and revive the Octavia, because I'm such a good teammate, and then return to shooting the Lenz at the enemy. Now, what you want to do is always have your clone zone as well, because you generate more arrows. As you can tell, the more arrows you generate, the more destructive this weapon is, and I don't think I have that good mods on it. I think maybe I have 3 forma on this weapon, and it's still already amazing. I don't even think the Staticor has that much forma on it, so you can tell Mirage buffing the weapons up is so effective. Now, the infested enemies are a bit shit to deal with when it comes to main weapons, because it's always easier to just kill infested with the melee weapon, and I'm likely going to switch to the Atterax for the next infested map. But in keeping with the theme of the video, let's just rotate weapons based on the enemies. Now I've shown you all 3 weapons I'm going to be using on this run. We have 5 more maps to go, and I'm going to pick a different weapon for each map. I really have dropped off the face of the planet with only 20% of the damage dealt, but I've taken no damage thanks to Mirage's 3, and honestly the Shadow Clones as well, because they're pretty effective. I'm not wasting any energy because there is no point in using my 2 or my 4. They're decent CC weapons at times, but my build is using negative range, so it's just a waste of energy at this point. My only defense mod is the health mod, I think, because you want that damage reduction on Mirage's 3 to actually scale with something. I was running Primed Flow and the Quick Thinking, but it actually feels a bit more dangerous, and you always get stunned when you reach 0 HP. There isn't exactly a way to heal yourself, so I just removed that instead. Let's see what Zone 4 has for us and what weapon to use. So, Corpus enemies, I'm going to switch to the Staticor because I expect them to have nullifier shields. Let's go some Staticor action. Sometimes I forget to use my 1 and 3, but they're so cheap thanks to my efficiency mods that I can always turn them on even before using my Zenuric. So actually these are corrupted enemies, they should still have some nullifiers, but I think I'll be fine. There isn't going to be a point where one of my weapons can do the work it needs to, at least up to zone 8, so I'm not worried at all. I'm going to keep switching weapons, so on the next map I'm going to use either the Atterax or the Lenz. Let's see, where are all the enemies at? I really hate these sorts of maps because we get no spawns. Like, this is where you start dropping efficiency, and if this map was like zone 12 maybe, we would just lose, because there are no enemies on the map. Like, look at this Mo spawn. Barely any enemies. How are we supposed to keep up the efficiency? So annoying. I really wish Elite Onslaught actually turned into the late game it was always supposed to be, but right now it feels so annoying, because when you lose, you don't actually lose. The enemies just stop spawning, and I guess efficiency goes down if you can't kill anyone. But right now we're doing fine, because it's still zone 4. Killing just a bunch of enemies is more than enough. After zone 8 though, things start going awry, especially if you don't have a good enough team. and honestly, the Inaros is pretty deadweight. I know Mirage can be considered deadweight if you're not bringing the correct weapons, but I think I'm doing more than my fair share, and the Inaros can be, the set can be the same can be said of the Inaros if he has good weapons, but I think Mirage is a bit more efficient. Inaros doesn't really get to use his damage reduction, because every single time he goes through the portal he has to turn his 4 back on, which is so annoying for the player. I don't know why he picked Inaros, it's just not a good decision. You could easily pick Rhino and get so much more done, or even Neja. You can have more fun, and speaking of fun, Mirage is one of the funnest Warframes ever when it comes to using your weapons. I know there was a dark time in Mirage history where she had to use the dumb as fuck, I can't even code the weapon correctly, some sort of made up shit from the where Mirage just played a CC build with her primary weapon. It was so dumb and so boring. But right now, I think Mirage is in a decent place, and she gets to use whatever weapon she wants. The rewards are out of control, 400 endo, this is why I play Elite Onslaught. So, another Corpus Wave. I just started with the Atterax, but actually I will use the Lenz. Fuck it, I'll keep the Atterax in my pocket. So, I didn't mention it before, but as you can tell, when I'm in range of my clones, their arrows don't actually kill me. So, the only radius you're going to die in is your own. You can still see the slow shortly before you die, so you can get away by jumping in the Tenno. It's not as dangerous as I make it sound, but you have to be aware of the fact it can happen. And you never want to go down in Elite Onslaught or use your carrier, because it's such a waste of tempo, and especially on the upper maps, you're going to just die. It's snowballs. If you fall down once, you're going to get destroyed pretty easily. And you never want to be the reason your team is about to lose. That said, I'm not sure anyone even plays past Zone 8 anymore. I tried a couple of times with Sarin to push by myself pretty much, but around Zone 12 it just ends, like there's nothing more you can do. Even if you play with a good team, I think the highest I've gotten is Zone 14. I don't know how people on the leaderboard get such high points. Must be cheating. I don't know. Maybe they have an amazing team, some sort of secrets, I don't know. But it really amazes me when I see such high scores, and I try to do it myself, and the game sabotages you by spawning no enemies. So right now I should be losing a lot more efficiency because I'm not hitting any enemies, because no enemies are spawning, while Sarin is destroying them without even looking at them. This is always going to be a limitation of Warframes like even Misa. When you can't see an enemy, you can't actually kill the enemy. But Warframes like Volt, Warframes like Sarin and even Equinox, they can kill every enemy without even looking at them. And that's why they'll always be in the lead when it comes to damage dealt. And that's okay, I guess. Each Warframe has their own specialty. But I really can't tell you where Mirage is supposed to be the best. I even recently did a video with Nidus, and on the end of farming mission I think he is the best Warframe there, but I really failed to see where you would pick Mirage over anyone else. What's going for her is the fun you can have, but fun kind of runs out when you press tab and you've dealt 16% of the damage on your team. It feels like you're not contributing, that's the shittiest part. But let's move on to Zone 6 and possibly a better map. I love this map, and it's infested. Atterax it is. You can beat infested with pretty much anything you want, but the most efficient way to play against them is definitely an Atterax, and here we go. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I didn't need an energy weapon with this Mirage. You could remove the efficiency mods and go even more into power strength, I guess, with an energy weapon, and spin to win with the Atterax, but I think the Lenz is so effective with Mirage, and I wanted to show it off. Now, fortunately for me, I'm going to make up some of the damage I've lost. The comrades we've lost. Someone quit. The Sarin? No such luck. I think the Octavia quit, I think she got bored, fair enough. But you always want to stay in until rotation C, because that's when the big reward drops, or some more endo. And I think quitting prematurely is pretty shit, unless she was just leveling something, I understand that. So right now it's going to be pretty boring because the infested can't do anything to us. All I have to do is keep spinning with my shadow clones, and I didn't even notice that they were gone. I've actually opted for a little less duration, funnily enough. So right now we're just rolling through the enemies, pretty straightforward. Sarin is even stunning them with her 4. There's nothing we can do on this map. It's so easy, and we are going to just roll into zone 7. Funnily enough, I think the Inaros is out DPSing me. This is so sad. Can we get 50 likes? I can't believe I'm getting out DPSed. He probably has a good weapon, and I'm showing off the Staticor and Lenz, which are travel time based weapons, which doesn't help with the fact I need to see the enemy to kill it. It's pretty funny that the Inaros is doing so well. I guess he's focusing on his other abilities, not the 4 so much. He might be doing a spin to win build himself, I haven't really checked. Sarin of course is out DPSing us both because Sarin is the best Warframe in Elite Onslaught. Nothing more to say on that topic. Mirage is such tons of fun, but I think she could use some new augments. Like, imagine if you could use an augment that lets your shadow clones run around killing shit with your weapons. That would be so much fun. They just detach from you and start doing their own thing. Like specters. We Skynet now, boys. B2. I'm not sure if B2 was actually useful. Okay, corrupted. Yeah, corrupted again. This is dangerous, but it's long range. I'll take the Lenz. Let's see. Wow, that shot failed miserably. I can't see any enemies. Okay, so this is getting pretty out of hand. Can we get some enemies in this map? Oh, I almost died to my circle, nice. Did I kill my carrier? No, okay. I swear, like, I can see 2 enemies per rotation of my screen. I even used the Atterax out of fucking boredom, like, there's nothing to shoot at. I love the way the Lenz works. First it kills enemies on impact, and if someone happens to be alive, oh, the arrows explode. It's one of the funnest bows you can play with. Not the best one I think, but still. Okay, let's try to get some long range snipes because I'm so bored of running around and not doing anything. Let's see. Come on. Come on! I forgot to say, but Mirage is vulnerable to CC effects when not using the Atterax, of course, which is so annoying when you want to use the Lenz because you have to be precise with the Lenz. You don't have a lot of ammo, you can't afford to just waste all your arrows randomly, and it's kind of a skill-based weapon, and you just saw me kill myself. I can't believe it. Because the Lenz does explode on impact, I killed myself with one of my arrows. It's a dangerous gun, it's fun-based of course, but fun can be dangerous sometimes. I don't want to die. Okay, almost killed myself again. God damn it, no enemies, like 0 enemies on the map. I hate the D-spawns. I think the spawns should get more and more and more as the zones get higher. Like, why are we fighting 5 enemies on the entire map? Who is this fun for? And Sarin isn't even killing them, they're just not spawning. Okay, let's head into the last map. I'm probably going to just pull the Atterax and just AFK farm the rest of the map. Ooh. The Kuva Fortress. I could use all 3 weapons on this map, just so it's fitting with the idea of the video, showing off 3 different weapons with Mirage. Let's do some Staticor melee action. I remember when the Staticor came up, the first time, and people weren't too impressed with it. And then people figured out you could use Zephyr and just make the weapon instant, just like any projectile-based weapon. Then they saw what Mirage could do with it, and suddenly everyone was high on the Staticor. Such a good weapon. I really hope melee weapons don't get deleted though. It's such a fun playstyle to play with melee weapons. All the weapons in Warframe are cool to use, but come on. I don't want the melee weapons deleted. The game will get so much harder for no reason, because secondary and primary weapons just aren't as good. Whatever I can tell you about how cool a Staticor is or Lenz is, the Atterax is undefeated when it comes to comparing how much damage you can put out with the different weapons. So let's switch with the Lenz to finish this map off. Let's do some long range snipes. God damn it, I'm on top of enemies. Almost fell off the map. Oh my god! My defenses were down and I paid the price. So, if you get distracted and you don't have your shadow clones and your tree up, you're going to die. No amount of mods can save you, as I just showed. And yeah, always keep track of your timer. This is really bad of me because you can just recast your tree like this. You can never let your tree go down because it's such a damage boost and also such a defense boost. If you want to use the defense, just go into the shadows. If you want to use the damage boost, expose yourself to the light. It's so simple to use Mirage, but it kind of feels clunky at times, and it's not for everyone, I admit. But I always have tons of fun when I play Mirage, even when I'm not the top DPS, as you can clearly see. I caught up with Inaros a bit, praised the Atterax, and he also, I think, went down a few times as well. Things get dangerous as maps goes on, as all the maps keep getting harder, of course. But up to Zone 8, you can do whatever the fuck you want, as we just showed. Well, this is about it. I'm going to go down one last time for not paying attention, but this is going to be about it. Thanks as always for watching. See you on the next video, whenever the fuck that is. Bye.